Hello, welcome everyone to The Distraction. It is Tuesday, The Distraction Reviews. I'm Jeremy Lambert, joined, as always, by Mr. Reloaded, Joseph Hulbert. Joe, how are you today?
I'm good. I do not regret my decision to pick this film 12 years ago as much as I thought I might. And I'm interested just to talk all things Randy Orton again, Jeremy. Really, I know we do this a lot off the air, right? I think we have an ongoing log. I think we've spent 400 hours at this point discussing Randy Orton off air. Now we finally get to bring that to the people. We've had a lot of time practice. I'm ready to go.
When I release the archives of the pre-shows and the post-show, people are gonna listen, and then 30 minutes in, they're gonna see how much Randy Orton it is, and then be like, I can't take another 500 hours of this, and then they're just not gonna listen to the archives at all. You're gonna miss some gems though once we get past the Randy Orton talk on the archives.
I mean, it's very important because by the time you release that, obviously we'll have the biggest podcast ever. That's one thing that would have happened. But Randy Orton would have been like solidified as the greatest wrestler ever, right? Like I know he's basically done it in the last couple of weeks, but like he would have had his own statue across every major city in the world, that kind of deal. So our recordings will be evidence that we kind of actually was ahead of the game on that. So that's very important. Keep those tight, Jeremy. Keep them close.
The recordings are going to be released on the Randy Orton network. Like he's gonna own he might own WWE by that point, and it'll be his network. So we'll be talking heads on all the programming there. It'll be fantastic. Cannot wait for this.
So you've seen the rumors too, then, that he's going to get his own Wednesday night show. Yeah, you've also seen those rumors. There's always sort of a war, but I've not seen anyone discussing the pretty large rumor that he's about to just start his own show on Wednesdays, and I'll co-op it for 2 hours and see who wins the rating. So, yes, this is all somewhat on topic, but Reloaded. You ready to reload on this one, Jeremy? Get out of here, Cena. It's time to reload.
Have you seen the first one? Have you seen the first 12 rounds with John Cena?
This is where I need to be honest with everyone and come clean. I have seen it. Okay. However, you know the scene in this film where like the concept. I'm going to do 12 rounds.
Yeah,
the villain says
it
on the phone.
Revealed. Right.
Yeah, like I had said to my brother, I was like, "Oh man, it's like Die Hard 3," and he looked at me and I just kept watching it, and he said 12 rounds. I thought, "Oh no, it's not like that. It's literally like 12 rounds." I forgot the whole point of the film. I don't know why I thought it was called 12 rounds. I had seen it before, but I had forgot that these films were legitimately just 12. Like isolated action scenes that are linked as rounds in the villain's master plan. So I have seen it, but clearly it didn't impact me very much. Is I guess the point.
I knew they made a 12 when you picked this movie. I knew they made a 12 rounds 3 with Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, because I listened to an interview where Joey Janela was saying, "Oh yeah, I went to Tony Khan's house and he put on 12 rounds 3." And when Tony Khan went to the bathroom, I got up and left, and I never finished the movie. So I knew there was a 12 rounds 3, and I knew there was a 12 rounds 1 because I'd watched it with John Cena, not with John Cena, but John Cena's in the movie. I didn't know there was a second one, and I didn't know Randy Orton was the star until you picked it. And immediately after like the first scene, I was like, "Oh, all right, I know the rest of this movie by heart as it goes." And sure enough, it played out exactly how I suspected it would play out, as it was a remake of 12 rounds 1, just with a better wrestler and actually a worse wrestler. Let's be honest, it's a worse wrestler. I tried to feed into your gimmick there, and I felt very bad. I'm not putting John Cena below Randy Orton.
That was about to be a big victory for me. I was ready to take a victory out on that, and I was like, "Wait, hang on, did you actually just say that?" Look, the opening scene of this film, I was immediately just like laughing hysterically. Like, Randy is like, I'm not gonna say he's terrible in this film. I don't think he's terrible in this film, but his effort levels in this role are something else. Like the opening scene, he's like, "You always pick the worst films, right? Oh man, sucks. This whole cinema sucks, doesn't it?" Like he's just so. And then actually, the ironic thing is, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, Jeremy, but like he has the least defined character in this whole film, right? Like his character's just he's just good at everything, basically. That's all we know about. There's no like. I don't understand. You have to get into the plot for me to venture more into this, but I don't quite understand what he was supposed to be, other than just a medic that can do everything in the world, basically.
Isn't that the plot of every WWE film? Is like the wrestler is just great at everything?
Yes. But sometimes they have like a dark, like, oh, you know, one time this thing happened. But so just to kind of set this up a little bit, okay? So the film starts and there's a crash, right? Two cars crash. He saves 2 people, the other one dies. Now, here's the thing, Jeremy. Sometimes when these films start, I am paying very little attention, okay? I'm glancing at the screen. So I was like, did someone die? I didn't know someone died. So I went to the Wikipedia page and I did that deal where you like scroll to the information that you're allowed to see kind of thing, right? Yeah. The first line. And it said, one of the 3 people died, and this apparently like wrecked his whole life because it had never happened before. Gonna tell you now, I've watched the film. I'm pretty sure that's not what happened. He seems to barely remember this, in fact, until an hour later in the film. So I don't know if originally the plot was supposed to be that like Randy's life was ruined by this incident, because from my viewing of it, it had no effect on him at all. Like not even a little bit.
There was, like, right after the opening credits. By the way, the movie bit, I tweeted this. I thought you were taking just a direct shot at me. I thought you'd seen this film. You knew Randy's, like, literally, like, his first line is, like, your movie selection sucks. And I was like, Joseph has seen this film. He remembers that line. And that's why he picked this film. Just to take a shot at me for picking Baywatch and a John Cena movie. That's all this is. This is an hour-and-a-half vehicle where Joseph subtweets me. There is right after the opening credits when Randy's like going to work. It's like a year later. He's going to work and his wife is like, it's okay. Like, it happened, you know, it happens to everyone. You know, mistakes happen. Yeah. And I guess that's the part where we're alerted that this has wrecked his life. That's the only thing I can think of. Because, yes, otherwise, he moves on. He seems fine. And, yeah, we realize when he meets the bad guy, he's like, oh, that was your wife that died. Gotcha. Didn't know all of this.
Yes, and it's 1 year to when it happened, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was exact, but I assume that based on the lengths the guy goes to for revenge, I'd assume he dated it pretty accurately, right? And like Randy's just in the spot the crash happened, and it takes like 10 other things to happen for him to be like, oh yeah, man, it was a crash, yeah, I pulled him out, she died, maybe that's what it is. I have no clue. By the way, that whole scene where you were just talking about, I don't want to suggest that paramedics look a certain way. I certainly don't want to do that here, Jeremy. However, Randall is not. He was not the most believable fit in that uniform. Would you agree with me on that? He is a guy that he's a lot bigger than we realise because he's in wrestling, and there's a lot of big guys in wrestling. Basically, is my point.
Yeah, he was a little miscast as a paramedic, but at least, you know, when they give John Cena these roles, they give him a firefighter or a cop or something. Sure, I can believe John Cena as that. Randy Orton as a paramedic, I don't know. I guess they had to go paramedic or something different than a cop, because then it would have been like an exact carbon copy of the first 12 rounds. Because I'm pretty sure John Cena was a cop in that movie.
Yeah, but I feel like that's an important part of the plot, because like, if Cena was a cop, which I'm pretty sure he was, I think you're right. Like, there was he could get away with following this game along, right? Like, some of his cohorts may be like, what are you doing? But he could be like, look, just trust me. Like, Randy Orton commits so many crimes during this film. So many crimes during this film. And he's just like, look, trust me on this one, right? Trust me. There's cameras. Remember when I looked at that camera once, Jeremy? I didn't do anything wrong, I promise. There's a point where it gets insane. But, I honestly don't know if anyone else in the world has seen this film. I've got one review I want to respond to at the end of this review. Or you don't know that. Carol.
I think it wrecked his life in a way that he just has no memory of it. It's, you know, it's the thing where, like, it was such a bad part of his life where he just doesn't remember it. Because, you know, when he picks up the, I guess, the governor, the mayor's son, whatever, the son.
Yes.
He saved that kid's life in that accident, and he just doesn't recognize this kid at all. He's just like, all right, you're just part of this game, don't know who you really are. I mean, maybe he didn't seem that mangled up from the accident, so no. But Randy just didn't know him. So I think it wrecked his life to the point that it got erased from his life, and I think that's what they were going for.
Okay, I mean, that can work. Tommy was the character's name, right?
Sure.
The kid?
Sure.
I shouldn't
take
say
your word
kid.
for
I mean, he's a fully grown man, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is Tommy.
I have no idea what I'm supposed to think of this gentleman named Tommy. I don't know if I'm supposed to be like rooting for a redemption arc here, or I'm supposed to think he's the real villain of the film, or because what happens is, so the villain, so basically because he's the governor's son, that was correct, right? He got out of a sentence, he got sent to rehab instead, and the husband of the victim, he was also a victim, he was also in the crash. He seeks revenge in. I mean, there's many ways to get revenge opposite someone, Jeremy, right? This is lengths that have never been gone to before, outside of the prior 12 rounds adventure. This is, I mean, the level of, like, research, commitment, planning that went into this is insane. He easily could have just had him killed for all he went through here. But I guess that was the game he wanted to play, right? I'm right in saying? So was we supposed to like Tommy? Or was we supposed to hate his guts? I don't know.
I had no real opinion of Tommy. I didn't really like him, so I don't think we were supposed to like him, but I didn't, like, outright hate him. Like, I hated the guy who did all this, because Randy Orton at one point is like, what would your wife think of all this? And he tries to justify it, and he's like, she'd love it. She'd love that I got revenge. Yeah, she'd love that I got justice. Like, by this means? Like, this? All right, maybe you want to take justice on the Tommy because he was drunk and caused this accident. Like, you're going after the judge, the lawyer. Look, I'll give him credit. The storytelling and the way it tied together, I didn't absolutely hate it. I was like, all right, you know, at least they tied up some loose ends. Like, at least they connected everything.
Sure, I mean, the levels of his mastermind are insane, right? Like, the scene where he blows up the ambulance, and, like, so, what's Randy's character? I'm just calling him Randy. Okay, yeah. Orton's pal Jay is in the ambulance, and he knows it's about to blow up, and he's like, Jay, and Jay's like, huh? He's like, Jay, and it blows up, and he doesn't die. He's just severely injured. Is what I got right from this.
Yeah.
And the villain of this film actually says the line, and I've committed this to my notes section here. He says, "If I wanted him dead, he'd be dead."
Yes.
What? What does that even mean? He blew him up. The man was actually blown up off this ambulance, Jeremy. What kind of planning went into this that he knew the exact angle at which death would happen?
I thought he was talking about Randy. Like, was he not talking about Randy? Like, if I wanted Randy dead, he'd be dead. Because that bomb was in, like, the dude's chest or something, right? Like,
yes,
it was...
Yes.
And so this guy was the guy who sold the alcohol at the club, or sold the drugs, or whatever it was at the club. Look, it all tied together. This was not just a random. Yeah, this is not just a random bystander who we decided to strap a bomb into. He kept feeding Tommy drinks, so he was culpable in the death of his wife. He could have easily just, because they were both working on him on the street and then in the ambulance, he could have just blown them up right then, blown them both up. They would have been dead. But no, he wanted to play this game, and that was the thing. He wanted to play 12 rounds, Joseph.
I mean, I'm never gonna rewatch this, so I won't know. But I think he said to Randy, "If I wanted him dead," which, I mean, wow, he was courageous in blowing that thing up while he stood, like, legitimately on the air. He was standing off of the ambulance. He was like, "Won't kill him. I've got it covered." Don't worry. By the way, for Randy Orton fans out there, little trivia in this film. There is a segment of this film, that 15-second clip, in which Randy Orton is just, like, running in the streets. And at this point in time, Jeremy, I paused the film and I was like, I'm not sure I've ever seen Randy Orton run anywhere in my life. Like, I've seen him do that, like, sort of quick walk into the pond. But as I've watched this man wrestle for 20 years, I don't think he's ever run in his life in wrestling. So if you wanted to see Randy Orton run, man, there's some tremendous running in this. There's also a lot out, and this is great stuff, by the way. There are multiple moments in which he's talking and his mouth is not moving. Like, it's the worst post-edit you'll ever see. It's so bad. And by your face, I said you missed this. There are moments where that man is literally just looking directly ahead. He's talking, his mouth is not moving. Very sad moments. Shades of the greatest wrestling match ever, dare I say. Right?
That's where they got this from. They were like, 12 Rounds 2 is the best of the three films, so what can we take from this? And they took the editing from this film.
Yes. I mean, is this a better film than the greatest wrestling match ever? As a motion picture, I'm talking here.
Oh, as a motion picture, yes. It's obviously not a better wrestling match, but it's a better motion picture.
Where do we draw the line? When does the film end of the greatest wrestling match ever? Because it isn't all of Backlash, right? But you need to include the intro to Backlash, which has like the big epic, like that has to be part of the film, I think. I don't know. Maybe do a director's cut and we'll review it next week, Jeremy. I'm not sure.
This is better than. Are we talking about like all of Backlash? I'm
not sure. It depends how you want to view it. I mean, what would you nominate for the Oscar? Backlash or just the separate match?
I would just nominate the Orton and Edge match.
Okay.
But see that is the greatest wrestling match ever. We agree that's the tagline. Yes. But the editing and the sound in that match are not good. Like it would win no awards for editing and sound, and even some of the cinematography in that match isn't all that good. But as a wrestling match, look, it's the greatest wrestling match ever. This was my argument on Twitter, is that people are complaining about that match of like, oh, the goofy sound noise and all these dumb camera reactions, and they had to shoot it a bunch of times and stuff. Like, I don't care about that. As a wrestling match, how was it? Greatest wrestling match ever.
I'm with you. I mean, I would ask, what had a better co-star lineup? Was it the greatest wrestling match ever with Edge, Samoa Joe, Tom Phillips, and Byron Saxton, or was it this film with whatever the villain's name was, Tommy? Who else was in this film? There was other people there, right? There's other people in this film.
The villain's
Randy's wife was in this film. There was...
The villain's name was Patrick. That was the actor's name was
not true.
Brian Markinson. No. Is it not?
He's
Patrick?
never called Patrick. He is never called Patrick in this whole film. That's made up. That is false. I refuse the idea that. I'm almost certain he's. I mean, he probably is Patrick, but I refuse the notion that it's ever said in the film.
Yeah, Heller.
I don't know.
His last name is Heller. Is that what they call him? Heller?
Okay.
The whole time?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, his name is Patrick Heller. So that's his name in the film.
What was his plan at the end, by the way? Did he ever plan beyond just blowing up the car? I didn't understand.
I think the plan was, he was driving on the freeway, whatever it was, and the bomb was going to go off. I think he was going to dive out, tuck and roll, while Randy and his wife were in the back seat, and the bomb was going to go off.
Why did he have the gun? Why was he waving the gun around?
To threaten them to not move?
Okay, listen. I avoid a lot of swearing on this show because I don't know where you're listening to this show. I don't know who with. I don't know, so I tried to avoid it, but I have to now do this for the sake of the accuracy of this review. I have not got this line down verbatim, so just bear with me. I am pretty sure in the closing moments of this film, Randy Orton tells Heller, right? Patty Heller. He doesn't go fuck himself.
Yes.
And Heller says, "Oh, I will." And I was like, I have no idea what this man intends to do. He may not have said it like I just said it, but I'm pretty sure he said that he intended to fuck himself. So I don't know. Look, that remains on the table.
Wasn't it Randy's wife that says the "go fuck yourself" line?
Either way, that's not the detail I'm worried about here. I just didn't, he was waving a gun around, and he was like, "I will go fuck myself. Thank you very much."
His response is, "I will go fuck myself." That is his response. That whole scene with them in the back, they cut to Orton. He's in these twist ties in the back seat, and they cut to that, like him trying to wiggle out of these twist ties like 3 million times. Like, all right, one of these times, I guarantee he's gonna get out of these damn twist ties. But he kicks the gun away. Randy gives this big heroic line of, what would you have done to save your wife? And Heller is like, anything. And Orton's like, exactly. And that's when he breaks the twist ties and he starts this battle. And my favorite part of this whole battle is his wife is like backseat like cornering Randy as he's in the middle of this fight in the truck. He's like, get the gun, kick him, hit him. She is like acting as his corner person for this. Like, shut up. I think he knows what he's doing.
Yes. And then it goes like, everything is shot one way. And he's like hitting him, and it's all, and then like he gets the gun, and it just goes slow mo, and he's like, he's like, whoa, what just happened? It's amazing. What's the best scene? My favourite scene in this film is the scene we just mentioned where he like puts it together, And it felt like it was like 40 minutes long. It was just Randy being like, and her, she was in it, him. And then, he starts like, at one point I thought he was going to join forces with Heller. He was like, this is all your fault, man. Tommy was just, I don't know what I'm supposed to get Tommy. There's a part in this film where like 2 straight scenes, there's a swerve, right? Like Tommy turns on Randy. And then what was the guy's name? The police officer that was made to be a dick from the first appearance of the film is exposed as being an actual turncoat. Right? Or something. He did something wrong.
Detective Sykes.
Yes, whatever reason. He was from scene 1 when you meet the 2 detectives. It's clear that he's an arsehole, right? Like he's like, well, maybe it's just him. But I didn't ever think he was going to just be a full part of the actual. Like he's a part of the whole web, right? He did something. He threw away the files. Was what it was. Jeremy. So that little like 10 minutes of Russo movie making, I thought was tremendous. That after the police chase part was when I checked out. I had no idea what was going on anymore.
My favorite scene was when he's literally burying the governor alive. He's got the sand and he's pouring sand on him and he's burying him alive. And Randy and this is the big reveal too. This is like the first time Randy like sees Heller. And he's burying the governor alive, and Tommy is there. And it's part of what you mentioned. Tommy turns on Randy. He gives him a brilliant piece of storytelling here. Randy shocks him earlier to cut off the signal to his ankle monitor. And then Heller, how did he know, like, Tommy was going to do this? He's like, what do they say about karma? And then Tommy is like, karma's a bitch. And then he shocks Randy with a lot of swearing on this podcast.
It's bad.
And then he shocks Randy with the taser, and I was like, oh my god, like, so Tommy, even though he killed this man's wife, is now in cahoots with this person. And then it just turns out to be like, all right, now he just has Tommy and he's gonna kill him as well. It's like
what did he gain? I didn't understand.
What did Tommy gain? Like, why are you gonna turn on this man who's actually like trying to help you and stuff? It was very it was odd, but it was a choice for certain.
It was also like 45 seconds after he's just watched this man shoot his father. Like, just killed him.
True.
Killed him in cold. Like, he'd saved him from the planned death. And then he'd watched him get shot, and he was like, right, anyway, time to turn, right? And then we cut, and then we did like a smash cut, and he's tied up. I don't know why he did any of this, actually. Now that I think about it, it's even more confusing. These films amaze me in that they are like embarrassingly simple, and yet we both are confused every time. I don't know if that says more about us or the films. Probably us, to be honest, but it's an achievement in itself.
How quickly did you lose track of the rounds?
Oh, I never had track. I'd forgotten that was what these films are. It was just, I mean, here's the deal I would say. Like, we've watched a lot of terrible films. This format makes for very easily watched viewing, right? Easily, you can just sit through these films very easily. It's just a bunch of action nonsense. There's a little bit of drama, not really. I mean, there's a lot of death in this, so you're never quite sure who's going to die next. I'll say that for this film, right? Like, I'll give it that much, I guess. I don't know. They're fun to watch. It's just, I don't know, man. The concept itself is so wacky that it's hard to take any of it too seriously, right? It's good fun. And Randy Orton is, by the way, Jeremy, I can see you pulled some sort of information up here, and I don't want to cut you off too bad, but I just need to say, is this where he invented the back suplex onto the announce table spot? Because he does that to a policeman, and I'm pretty sure he didn't do it in real life for years afterwards. This may be the roots of what nearly killed the Singh brother.
I think the Singh brother was the first time he did it, right? I mean, maybe it wasn't, but that was the most memorable one because of the facial reaction he made after he did it. I think it's fair to say that the back suplex onto the table was invented here because this was the first time we have a record where he does it. Randy, that's why Randy is a genius, folks, because he just pulled from this movie years later, and he's like, this is going to be my nod to everyone, the millions and millions who have watched 12 Rounds too. And if they get it, they get it. If they know, they know. A lot of people won't know, but the ones that do, oh my god, they're going to be amazed. But then, because Randy is a genius, he pulled off the facial reaction as well. So it's like, you're gonna get the reference and you're gonna get the GIF moment out of it. And if you don't get the reference, you're still gonna get the GIF moment. Yeah, just amazing.
The only issue is both of us are gonna get like 8 different tweets of him doing this to like Shelton Benjamin in 2003. This whole bit is for naught. But I actually think this is the first bit, and it was. I mean, there's no RKO in here, which I expected. I did want to see the signature stomp gimmick where he just walks around someone and stomps on them. That would be amazing in a film with like the big cuts and stuff. But an invention of a wrestling movie is pretty impressive for a film like this, I've got to say.
He should have punted Heller that should have been the final scene. Like after Heller blows up, they should have just walked over him. That's the thing. The movie just ends. Like he blows up the paramedics, the cops, the police, the fire department. All these people arrive on scene, and then you get like this big like overhead city shot, and that's the end of the movie.
It ends.
Maybe we need to watch 12 Rounds 3 and see if Heller is now coming after Dean Ambrose.
See, this was like the opposite of Miz getting like a montage in the Marine.
I was legitimately when they did the overhead shot, I rewound the movie because it went to the credits, and I rewound and I was like, there's got to be more than just an overhead shot. Like there's got to be like a big montage scene like the Miz to really close this out. And I can confirm none of that happened.
Yeah, like it's just like, oh, he's dead. You look down for a second, you look back, the credits are rolling. You're like, oh, that was. I mean, I guess there was no more to add, really, right? Like this. Here's the thing, okay? These films, obviously, they start. Like the wrestler is the star of the film, but in this film, this really is just a film about Heller, right? And Randy Orton is just the awesome guy that can play his game and beat it, basically. Because we learn nothing about Orton's career. He just is the only guy that can play Heller's game, and he was in the right place at the right time, Jeremy, right? Am I right? The right place at the right time. There's themes for you. I repeat it 10 times, you might get there in the end. But I don't know. The end was a little bit. Have we concluded what we thought his plan was yet? Because I initially thought he was going to shoot himself, and then he was the car will do what the car will do kind of deal. You see what I'm saying? But we never get to find out because the gun is taken from him. I don't know what he intended to do with the gun. Is my point.
I think his plan was. It was gonna blow up and he's gonna go fuck himself. I mean, that's what he said he was gonna do. Like
he calls like he's like, yeah, there's about to be an accident. He's blowing the thing up. It's not like he's driving into it. He's just blowing it up. I don't know what you expected him to save there. He was like, at least I'm giving you a chance. Not really. You're blowing the car. Then again, he's very good at knowing whether the explosion will kill someone or not. Right?
Yeah.
Do we see Jay ever again after he survives the fatal or not fatal, I guess, explosion of the ambulance? We never see him again, right?
I don't think so. He wasn't on. See, that should have been like part of the closing scene. Is Jay and Orton reunite?
There's a 2-hour version of this. There is a 2-hour. It's somewhere out there. If we get the DVD, we'll see there's a 2-hour director's cut of this film that is like high art. And it goes all into the effects it had. You see like alternate therapy talking about what happened. Then again, I don't know how that would work with the thing where he just doesn't really remember or care about any of it. So I'm not sure.
Maybe that's what his therapist is there for. His therapist tells him you just need to block out this memory. Maybe he goes to electroshock therapy to take it away. Look, we can make this extended cut version. That's the next part of the GoFundMe. Yeah, we've got we're adding this to the GoFundMe list. I think I've lost track of everything we've got. We've got No Holds Barred 2. We've got Suburban Commando 2. We've got did we do Mr. Nanny 2? I don't think we did Mr. Nanny 2.
So here's the deal with Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny. I've forgotten which one is which.
Oh, we combined them. We combined them is what we did. Go. Yeah, that's what we ended up doing. So we're gonna the new remake is just gonna be Suburban Nanny. That's what we're gonna call it. Don't ask me why. Okay. But we're gonna call it Suburban Nanny. So we've got those two. We had one based off of Baywatch, and I don't recall what it actually is.
We don't speak of that. That film's banned. That's like NXT banned forever. It's never to be discussed.
We can't ban that movie and its big, huge dick. And now we've got the extended version of 12 Rounds 2.
I like, in this film, where like, I assume the screenwriters for this just forgot that he was a medic like multiple times, where he's beating people up, and they were like add a little detail into like, we remember. Do you? Like, there's one part where he like breaks into this hotel kind of deal. It doesn't really break him, but he basically does, right? He grabs the guy at the front desk and he pulls him.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that was violent for Mr. Medic Randall Orton. And then he says, keep pressure on it. It will stop bleeding eventually. Like, I assume this was us, like, oh, he's a good guy, really. You know, he means well, really. And then there's this weird fight scene where he fights, like, the security guy whose face is, like, hidden from the camera. I assume he was just ashamed of being in it. I don't know what happened to him. You remember the scene I'm talking about? He walks out of the room 44, which is round 4, get it? He walks out and, like, the front desk guy's like, I've got someone for you to fight, and we never see his face, unless I'm mistaken. We may have seen his face. I didn't see it, is what I'm saying.
I don't recall seeing his face.
Oh, wow.
I do like...
Okay, good.
I do like the note. It's not for every round, but there is one where, like, the cops burst into a room, and the room number is, like, 9. So, oh, that's round 9. And there's another one where it's just, like, you see the numbers that are attached to the rounds to make you remember, like, this is what round it is. So I asked you, like, you know, do we remember these rounds? Because I don't. But we're going to go through this round by round, Joseph. And
no.
I don't know if you remember this either, but the Heller says when he's like, all right, we're going to play this game, 12 rounds. If you win the majority of them, you will survive. That's what he says. Yeah. So it's like, you just got to get the unanimous decision here. You can even get a split decision, I guess. You just got to win the majority of the rounds. So we're going to go through this round by round. Round 1 is not... This is what I was pulling up, by the way. Round 1 is not actually listed. I think round 1 is the ambulance. The first scene where the ambulance blows up and Jay dies. I guess Randy... Sure. Does Randy win that round? He saved Jay, right? But Heller's like, if I wanted him dead, he'd be dead.
This is the thing. It's a lot like mixed martial arts, Jeremy. The scoring is very subjective on a lot of these. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if you really look at it, I mean, he tried to. He didn't try to kill Jay, as you just pointed out, and he successfully didn't kill him while severely injuring him. And the other guy was always going to die, and he didn't want to kill Randy Orton. So therefore, he wins that round easily, right? Effective striking, octagon control. I give it to Heller.
All right, so Heller wins that round 10-9. I might go 10-10 round on that, but we'll go 10-9. It says for round 2, Nick receives a text message, which is that Randy Orton's name in this film? Nick? All right, sure. He receives a text message which leads him to a parking lot where a car waits for him. Orton wins that round. He found the car, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He finds it like really late though. Do you remember? He gets in and like the Bluetooth guy. Do you remember this? He starts speaking to him on the Bluetooth. He's like, "Oh, that was close." And he's like, "I got here, didn't I?" You know, that was that.
Right.
Remember this?
But he got there.
Yes, good.
So that's a 10-9 round.
He did.
For Randy.
He wins that one.
Yeah.
Undeniably. Yes.
Round 3, Nick must find a clue for his next destination in the car. That's where he finds the Palace Hotel thing. So he found it. He wins that round. These are the rounds, folks. Look, I'm not making this up. These are the rounds. This is how it goes. We're going through all 12 of these, Joseph. I had to watch this film because of you. We're going to score these rounds. Round 4 begins in the palace as Nick... I don't want to recap the whole thing. All right. Oh, Randy realizes this is the 4th round. He attacks the manager and steals the key.
Yes. That's what I was just talking about, right?
Yeah. It says, the manager is wearing a white top with a cue ball on the front with the number 4. See, these are the details where they got the numbers in there to alert you. This is round 4, folks. Randy wins this round. He gets the key. He's doing very well.
Hang on, before you get to 5, I want to do this myself because I've just remembered what the clue for 5 was. Do you remember how he found out it was round 5? He found like a glove and was like, 5 fingers. Round 5.
Yes, I did.
And Tommy was like, what are you talking about? It could be anyone's glove. What? Unless I missed something. Maybe the glove, there was more to it. But it looked like me just found a glove and was like, 5, got it. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, what does it say? Maybe it'll explain it better.
Round 5, he enters the room, ransacks it, gets into a fight with Tommy and the prostitute. That's not nice. She could have just been a nice lady.
Yes.
Before the phone rings, it's Heller. He orders him to bring it to hit with you, which I guess is Tommy. Yeah, and this was the black glove. So I think Randy wins this round as well. He got Tommy, and he got the glove.
He did. Yes, and he beat up that guy with no face, which wasn't part of the mission, but he still did it.
Yeah, that was a side mission. If you play those open world games, you can get into the side missions.
The most annoying things ever, beingly, yes.
He got XP bonus to add to his skill tree. This is how he became like a good fighter. He did all the side missions as well, and so his skill tree just grew.
I mean, that's a better explanation than they give us. I think the only one they give us is like, there's something he does, and Tommy's like, how'd you do that? And he goes, I was a dumb kid too once. It's like, oh, that's it. I guess just good at everything because he was a dumb kid once.
Round 6. Orton's doing very well. I feel like he's only lost round 1.
Dominate.
Yeah.
It's like, remember back in the day, Jeremy, when Floyd Mayweather would like fill it out early on, and then he would just take over. By round 6, it's like, this is over with, man. This is finished. This is what's happening here. Randy Orton is Floyd Mayweather Jr. That's what I'm telling you. In many ways. But anyway, carry on.
Round 6 is the telephone booth. I have no recollection of this.
This is when it's
this is where he's on the street. Yeah, and he figures everything out.
And Tommy runs off, which I think, you're going to tell me in a minute, but I think it costs him round 7. I don't think he meets the bell for round 7. Because he's like, you've lost it, you've missed it, back onto round 8.
What was round 6, though? Just arriving at the telephone booth?
Just getting to the phone. Yeah. And then they figure it out, and they're like, everyone involved, because is that when they find the body of the lawyer? Yes. I don't know.
Yeah, that's when the body of the lawyer's in the trunk. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, so I guess that he wins round 6.
Yes, dominating.
Yeah, it says round 7 is the sugar factory where Tommy's father is.
Oh. Okay, there's one round where he's like, missed it. That's it, he just misses it, I don't know.
Maybe that's round 6.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I guess so, because otherwise round 6 was super easy, right?
Yeah.
I guess, that makes sense, yeah.
All right, so round 7 is reaching the sugar factory. They did that.
Yep.
Yeah, but then he dies anyway. I don't know if they win that round or not. I think Heller wins that round.
Heller wins that. He kills who he wants in the end anyway. Easy victory, I think.
Round 8, Nick and Tommy must save the governor. Oh, well, then they lose round 8. They win round 7, because round 7 is just getting to the factory.
Now that I'm hearing this plan actually sucked. I'm sorry, everyone, when I said this was a master plan. This plan, literally, like 8 of the rounds, just get somewhere. Just make it in time, you've won the round. He has no counter punches to any of this. He just wants you to get there.
Now, round 8 is saving him. They lose that. But Randy's already won on the judges' scorecards, hasn't he?
Yeah. He needs to get knocked down multiple times to even get close to losing this. Yeah. He's got it in the bag.
Round 9. What is this? He shoots his father. Tells Nick the detectives already took care of round 9 for him. Oh yeah, that was when the detectives break into the building and there's the 9 on the door, and that's when
the guy has super glue gun too.
Yeah.
I forgot. There's a poor old man who was the judge. Yeah. And he shuffles out with a gun in his hands, and they shoot him down, and then they find out the gun was super glued to his hand.
So they win round 9. Or Heller wins round 9. So big
easily.
Look, 8 and 9. This is when the comeback starts right here.
Yep.
Yeah, Randy was banking those early rounds, did good work, but 8 and 9, Heller realizes he's down on the cards. And his corner told him, you need the knockout. And so he's just going out there and he's swinging.
He's just killing everyone. He's just murdering everyone in sight.
Round 10 begins when Tommy... It says, round 10 begins with Tommy, still broken after his father's death. Was he?
False.
Was he?
Absolute lie. Absolute lie. He was only concerned about the fact he was about to get poisoned to death. He did not care at all about his father. He'd already turned heel moments afterwards.
Yeah, well, this was apparently round 10. Is Heller's instructions was to tase him, and he did that. So another victory for Heller.
So how does Orton win that round?
Don't get tased.
I guess so. He just turns around and punches him. He's like, oh, on to 11.
He should have hit him with the RKO. He could feel him coming up behind him. He just snatches him RKO. It's over. He wins that round.
That's that is proof of, even though it seems that Nick is great at everything, he's not Randy Orton. Yeah. Even if he may look like him and sound like him and act like him in every which way, he is not Randy Orton, because there's no way Randy's getting tased in that situation, right? RKO, it's over with.
Round 11 is they're in front of the club, and this is where he kills Tommy. I don't know what this has to do with Randy Orton, but...
He's not even in the round.
Yeah,
he literally doesn't even leave the stall.
Yeah.
He sends his trainer out to fight the round for him. Big swing here, late, folks.
And in round 12 is the SUV, where Orton wins. Yes. Those are the rounds. Those are somehow the 12 rounds. Those first rounds, look, those first rounds, that's a sparring session. Just get where you need to go wherever. Orton wins those rounds easily. Heller makes a comeback late, the big comeback late. Orton just kind of punched himself out in those early rounds. He went, he tried to take him out early. Heller survived. He was fine, but he expended a lot of energy. I don't think Orton's cardio is that good. I think if when we do the extended cut, Orton's got to work on his cardio.
I mean, I like that, like, in classic boxing matches where there's drama in the 12th round, like sometimes it'd be like, oh man, if only a guy had like stayed behind the jab and avoided any trouble. Like in this fight, the story is, if only he didn't intentionally fuck himself, he may have won this fight. But instead, he intended to, dude, and it cost him everything. It cost him. I mean, the consequences of this were beyond his own understanding. This is what he didn't get. He thought it was just a good comeback. It wasn't, but boy did it backfire when he was exploding there. It was a dramatic end, if nothing else. We've got to say that much, right?
He really did have it. Like, it was a close fight. I think he could have won on the scorecards if he just lets round 12 play out. Because rounds 8, 9, 10, and 11, those were knockdown rounds. And they swung... Yeah, they swung everything. Those early rounds, they were close enough to where, all right, maybe that's a 10-9, 10-10. Yeah. There were some 10-8 rounds at the end there. Round 12, look, it was going to be another 10-8 round. Maybe he even gets the late knockout. But he charged in. He rushed in. He thought he had Orton really down, really out. Yeah, he fucked himself over, and he got knocked out himself. It was classic. Yeah. What was the fight? Pete Sell and Scott Smith. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, when he charged.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. That was the ending of this fight.
That's a deep cut, man. That's a real deep cut. I didn't know where you were going to go, but I didn't expect that. That is a great knockout. I have to actually, like, now start a beef on this podcast, Jeremy. Now, you can distance yourself from this, but I was on the Wikipedia of this film, and Tyler Foster of DVD Talk, who must take himself seriously as a review man, I'm here to call him out. 7 years later, okay? Finally, revenge is here. Reloaded, okay? He gave it 1.5 out of 5, and he said, even the world's most committed Randy Orton fan won't get anything out of 12 rounds 2. A dull rehash of a million other better action movies that saddles Orton with an uninteresting character. Well, Mr. Foster, I am here to tell you, as the world's most committed Randy Orton fan, I got an hour's podcast out of this and had a tremendous fun throughout, okay? So I want to make this clear to Mr. Foster. Don't talk about me, okay? Don't tell me what I got out of this film. I may have waited a long time to watch it, but I got a lot out of this film, and I will not be told otherwise by your goddamn review series. No way. No way. That's all I want to say here, Joe. Oh, the rest of this, honestly, it doesn't matter. Just clip this and send it to the man. Find the man. I'm here. Talking about me all these years ago. I didn't see it. I'm here now, and I'm ready to answer.
You've become such a superstar that it had taken 7 years for this jab at you to even hit your radar. Like, you have way more important things to deal with. But now, 7 years later, it has finally hit the Joseph Hulbert, biggest Randy Orton fan, radar. And you have you win that round, Joe. You've won that round. We'll have to... I think he took the first round, you took the second. We got 10 more rounds of this beef between you two.
And I am not going to fuck myself. Let me tell you that. It is not happening, Mr. Foster. I am here. The gig is up. Okay, for 7 years you've been telling everyone that I got nothing out of this film, and I am here to tell you I got a whole hell of a lot out of this film. So much so that we have been laughing now about the 12 rounds system for approximately half an hour. So I want you to know that you were wrong and you remain wrong. That's all. That's all I want to get off my chest, okay?
Well, he gave it, what do you get, 1.5 out of 5 stars? Yes. Is there anything else?
Interesting. Here's the thing, that is interesting though, because his review would suggest he'd give it 0.
Yeah.
Because he's like, no, he literally says the biggest Randy Orton fan in the world wouldn't like this, and he still give it 1.5. Which is more than I give Baywatch, I think, out of 10. So I don't know. I mean, sure, look, I'm not totally anti Mr. Foster. I just was upset to see my name used that way on an official review.
Anything else, or can we give our final scores of this? You gave Baywatch a 1 out of 5, which is or a 1 out of 10. So you gave it a 2, yes. which is lower than. Oh, you gave it a 1 out of 10. I've confused rating systems.
Yes, that was terrifying. My head was going.
He gave it a 3 out of 10. So yeah, he did score this higher than you scored Baywatch. Anything else to wrap up this film? I think we've hit everything.
I did want to say that when I was watching this, I was thinking if you was to build an actor from the ground up, Jeremy, it would look like Randy Orton, would it not? I think it would. So I wanted to say that, and I think it's time to rate the film. And I've seen there's a lot of speculation as to what I'm going to do here. I'm not going to break the system. Everyone knows I went very high on that one Hogan film because of the shiny-headed villain. There was no shiny-headed villain. He was bald, but he was not shiny-headed. Not the same thing. So with that in mind, I'm really pondering this. My gauge with these terrible films is, what was The Chaperone?
The Chaperone was a 4 out of 10 for you.
What have I given a 5? What have I given a 5, Jeremy?
No Holds Barred and Suburban Commando.
That feels generous, man.
Just completely underrated, both films.
Yeah, but I'm still not putting Randy on the same level as Hunter. So 5, I'm giving it the 5.
All right.
I got a lot out of this, Mr. Foster. I enjoyed it very much, but I can't go any higher because unfortunately, here's the thing. Here's the truth, Jeremy. Randy was limited by the direction here, right? The script and the direction were very subpar. He was amazing, but man, some of the visuals here were not on point for me. But still, enjoyable film.
This film, you said at the start that you could just tell Orton was gonna just give the effort he was gonna give with those first lines. It was very fitting for Randy Orton just to be like,
so good.
I'm just gonna do whatever I need to do. Randy Orton, the action will carry it. It'll be fine. Just give whatever performance. People will think it's great. People will not think it's great. Doesn't matter. In the end, 7 years from now, when I'm declared the greatest wrestler of all time, 2 people are going to review this film, and they're going to declare this film the greatest film because they're going to realize just how great I was in this film. They're not going to appreciate it now. Everybody's not going to appreciate it now. But when you look back, everyone's going to realize how good I was in this film.
Well, I mean, here's my one question. I agree with everything you said. Co-sign it all. Has Randy Orton ever seen this film, do you think?
No. So look, this was never going to happen. I've tagged Randy Orton in multiple tweets trying to get him on the podcast to do this review with us. Like, it was never going to happen. I'm not naive enough to think that. I was shooting a shot to see if he would just come on and talk about this movie with us. I will continue to tag him in these tweets because, you know, people... all these wrestling interviewers, they want to interview these guys, and they want to talk about, oh, tell me about this match. Tell me about this. Tell me what was going through your head here, and blah, blah, blah. We just want to talk about 12 rounds 2. I don't care about all this other wrestling stuff. Let us talk to you about 12 rounds 2, Randy. That's all we're going to talk about. We're not looking for any scoops or anything like that, unless we get backstage scoops on 12 rounds 2.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. If you actually got Randy Orton on our podcast and I had to talk about 12 rounds 2, it may be the worst day of my life. Like, I know it sounds fun in theory, but can you imagine us actually just being like, anyway, so in the follow-up scene with Hella, how do you feel about that one? It would be the worst thing ever. But my fear is that you're going to tag him here and he's not going to see the full picture. You know, like, he doesn't see the depths of our passion and our fandom. And I fear he's going to dislike our critique here. But we don't want to be critical, do we? We agree it's the best film ever. We just have to rate. To be honest, we have to lie about our ratings for the sake of reputation, don't we, Jeremy? We're a respected movie guys. We have to do that. But we both agree it's the best film ever. I want to be clear about that.
That's what everyone does in wrestling anyway. So
true.
We may as well do it here when they're rating matches. We all know what the greatest wrestling match ever is. And then you see people give higher star ratings or 1 out of 10 ratings to other matches. And because they got to protect their credibility. Don't do that. Just admit stuff. But we're going to do that here with our movie review.
Imagine ever giving 5 stars to a match when you knew that Edge and Orton was coming eventually. But imagine, because everyone knew eventually we'd get there. Like, you should have always just left the top mark open for that moment, right? Yeah. When the two masters of the industry got a chance to produce that motion picture we were talking about. But, yeah, so, Grant, have you rated this yet? I don't know. You've given it, like, 12 out of 5, right?
I am giving it... Look, it didn't top Suburban Commando for me. Okay, wow. That's still a 7-star.
Which one was Suburban Commando?
That was with the Undertaker. On the shiny head? No. That was Mr. Nanny. Suburban Commando was with the Undertaker, and that's another guest we want. We want the Undertaker just to talk Suburban Commando. We care about his 30-year career and digging holes and taking souls and all this stuff. Don't care about that. Let me hear your actual voice from Suburban Commando. That's what I want from the Undertaker.
Are you sure he hasn't been on here? Because I see a lot of him. He may have actually been on our show and we forgot.
We just don't remember it. We have the Randy Orton amnesia from this film.
I'm pretty sure he's been on. He's been on every show, I think. So I think he's been on. He's passed us by. I think we must have done it sometime in the last few weeks. I'm not sure. But yeah, it'd be cool to talk about this film anyway. Yeah, the film that I can't even remember apparently. It'd be great. Yeah.
I'm going to give 12 rounds to 3 stars. I feel that is on the level of Playing with Fire. I feel that is very fair. It's higher than The Chaperone on my scale. It wasn't as good as Stuber. Stuber got 3.5 from me. Yeah. So I feel 3 stars is very fair for the greatest film ever.
I agree. That's a solid Alexa Bliss match, right? That's like a good one. That's one of them ones that you can like gif up and stuff and be like, hey, good match, and get away with it. So I agree with that. That's where I'll put this to. I think I give it a 5. So not exactly, but still. We're in the same ballpark, but we know our true opinions, and at least we made that clear, right? Beyond the actual... The number means nothing. It's what matters to us. It means in our heart a lot more than that, right, Jeremy? That's what I'd say.
Exactly. Next week, Joseph. It is my pick. I've had a couple films in mind. I'm not gonna lie. There was tough choices. Cuts had to be made. Maybe we'll get back down to them down the line, but we're going off script a little bit, okay? Because this film would it shouldn't technically be picked until December. But I don't know if this podcast is going to last until December. Look, this might be, we're not Bailey and Sasha saving it until SummerSlam, okay? We got to pull the trigger when we got to pull the trigger. Santa's Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg, is what we're going to review next week. I feel your audio has cut out. Or that, or you're just not talking. Yeah, your audio cut out. Good going. You've broken the audio for this show. People can see you laughing and moving your mouth. No one can hear you right now. Plug your microphone back in. Just unplug it, plug it back in. See what happens. Yeah, there we go. It's low for some reason, but we could hear you. It's very difficult to actually hear you, Joseph. Amazing. Can you say anything? Joseph is, I've broken the podcast with the Bill Goldberg pick, and look, I can't do anything about that. Joseph and his UK technical setup here, we don't know what, I think Joseph is very excited about this film. He's shaking his head no, but I believe that means yes. Joseph cannot wait to get to text me your thoughts, and I will read your thoughts on the air. That's what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up because this me talking to nobody isn't the best audio ever. So Joseph is gonna text me what he is actually thinking in regards to my pick of Santa's sleigh. All right, he sent me a message, and it says, from Joseph, "I want to go fuck myself." All right, there we go. Joseph, very excited to review Santa's sleigh next week. That's what we're going to do. Thursday, we'll be back talking wrestling. We'll talk about NXT's banned, but WCW's not banned, so we'll talk about WCW, Great American Bash, AEW, whatever happened on Raw. I'm sure we'll start the show by clapping and give for a thank you Taker. That's how we're gonna start Thursday's show. I promise we're gonna do this. and maybe we'll talk about the Undertaker. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Join us for Thursday. We're gonna do that next Thursday. We do have a special guest, big guest, as we preview the NBA return and also talk wrestling. Blake Murphy from The Athletic. He covers the Toronto Raptors for The Athletic. I've told him that Joseph is a 76ers fan. I told him to heckle Joseph throughout the entire show. He promises he will do this. So if you want to hear Joseph get heckled all show, that'll be next Thursday when we talk NBA and wrestling. Next Tuesday, we review Santa's Sleigh. We have the TEW series on Saturday. Judgment Day, Joseph's big pay-per-view, Judgment Day, is taking place on Saturday. You can follow Joe on Twitter. Sometimes he tweets at JoeHulbert5. He's got a bunch of features coming out. He cannot retort any of this. So, yeah, you're shaking your head no, but people listening on the audio don't understand. They can't see that. So, in their minds, there's a bunch of features coming out. But Joseph has a bunch of features coming out. You can follow me on Twitter at JeremyLambert88. We'll be back on Thursday.